welcome to Happy Hour with Buzzing About Romance. I am joined this evening with my co-host, Heather. Hi, Heather.
Whoa.
And we are so excited to get to spend the next little while fangirling over one of our favorite hockey romance authors, Kelly Jamieson. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
I Heather, when I said, hey, Kelly's interested in another happy hour, Heather's like, I will cut you if you get in my way. She was in.
Oh, I love you guys.
So we are super excited tonight that we are celebrating your latest release, Scoring Big. This is book 5 in the
Well,
Bears?
it's kind of book 6.
Book 6.
Yeah.
Book 6. You would know.
Yeah. Maybe. Sometimes I don't know anything.
I've read them all, but,
Believe me, I understand.
I'm like, there's a lot of them, but I love them all. It's kind of, you've done this in 3 sections. So we had the first 3 books, and now
Right.
we've had these 3 books. And we'll get into it, and we'll talk about all the things coming. Heather, can you read Kelly's bio?
Yeah. Kelly Jamieson is a U.S. Today bestselling author of over 40 romance novels and novellas. Her writing has been described as emotionally complex, sweet and satisfying, and blisteringly sexy. She likes black coffee, white wine, and high heels, and of course, cheering on her Winnipeg Jets during hockey season. She loves hearing from readers.
She does. She doesn't mind if you stalk her, and we will share lots of her social media connections because Heather and I are both notorious for being stalkers.
We are.
Heather, was Kelly's Aces one of your first hockey series? Because it was one of mine.
I think it was definitely, and it's one of those I go back to, I think I read it or listened to it at least 4 times.
Oh, wow.
I need to go back and reread it because I need to freshen up so that I can tell Kelly what weddings we need and whose children.
Yeah. There could be lots of weddings, right?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Rules of the night, you can ask all the questions in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them. In the description of the video are the links to all the places to connect with Kelly. We're going to kick things off in the traditional bees way. Kelly, what are you drinking this evening?
Oh, I'm drinking wine, but not white wine tonight. I'm drinking red wine. I had no white wine in the house, so I do like red occasionally. So, cheers.
Nice.
So Susie's already in the chat asking, where is the best place to start reading your books?
Ooh.
And I say the Heller brothers.
I would agree.
I think they're a little shorter, and it's kind of 4 books that gives us a very good sampling of the types of characters you like to write about. Now, Susie likes sexy, and she also likes paranormal, and you wrote a great witchy romance last year.
I did.
And I love that book. I have a copy. Oh, Big Witch Energy.
Oh, you have it.
I do too,
Isn't it
somewhere.
It was so cute. I've been waiting for more.
Well,
We won't get into that now because there's way more things to talk about.
I love that cute cover on that book.
It totally reminds me of Bewitched.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of Bewitched.
So adorable.
Kind of vibe that I wanted to write about. Something different.
I loved that one. You also have some really great steamy, spicy books with a couple of different menages. And we were just talking about it, but you have a bar that takes place in a series that takes place 3 buddies that own a tequila bar together. And first of all, you can learn about tequila, so it's educational, people, and they're really
Totally
great
worth
stories.
it.
Good book boyfriends. And I think that that series takes place in San Diego, right? Like Southern California. Yeah, so you get all the beachy vibes when you read that.
Yeah,
keep
exactly.
us warm.
The beach on the bar and the sun and the tequila, and I love California, so that was fun writing that one. And I had to do a little tequila research.
I mean, that would not make me sad.
Yeah.
honest, not make me sad. We learned in book club one time, there is a tequila train in Mexico. It's a tour. You take a train
Ooh.
and you stop at different agave farms and tequila distilleries as you go through the area in Mexico, and it's on a train. And I'm just saying that would be fun.
Field trip.
That sounds amazing. I've heard of those kind of trips. In Napa, they have like a wine train where you go from winery to winery, but I have never heard of a tequila one.
Yeah.
They have a wine train in Wisconsin too. I'm guessing the one in California is way better. I'm just gonna say, I think maybe.
I mean, Wisconsin's nice, right?
Yeah.
Not really.
I didn't say anything
Sorry,
about
two
South
sides.
Dakota, just Wisconsin.
Mhm.
Heather is like Minnesota nice, but she does not like her neighbors in the states next to her.
No, there's a
Really?
lot of hockey rivalries. I mean, you know, Kelly. I mean, like hockey rivalry is a thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Heather, what are you drinking tonight?
just some bubbly. Yeah, I have to teach tomorrow morning, so unfortunately.
That does not sound fun.
Yeah,
I mean, just you could call in sick. Weekend.
it's Friday.
And do you have next
Oh,
week off for school? Because you already had
Mhm.
Canadian Thanksgiving, right? You guys
Yeah.
had that last month. So we have Thanksgiving next week. So just take early vacation, Heather.
Yeah,
Are
why
you
not?
close to a week for Thanksgiving? No.
No, not really.
No,
4
I mean,
days. Wednesday.
Here, kids get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, and then it's a big hockey weekend. So there's usually tournaments and
It's usually the
nobody gets any
kickoff
Christmas.
of the high school season, right?
Or like the youth season, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am going to share in the chat the link to Kelly's Amazon. Make sure you're following her over on Amazon. It's a really great way, especially when some of your backlist goes on sale. You get emails that say, hey, an author you like has a book on sale, which
It's true.
I love a sale, and you have a free book right now.
Oh, yes, I do.
Good Hands is currently free and everywhere because it's available wide. So
Yep.
you can get your copy of it's Good Hands, right? Yeah, Good Hands.
This one.
You have that one too. It's beautiful.
And I liked that's the book
So
that
pretty, Kelly. Oh,
I really
it's
like
hot.
these covers. Like
Mm-hmm.
these last three
Like them?
cuz I have Talk Hockey to me behind me. I liked that cover too. Like those I like those covers. They're
Yeah, talk hockey to me is pretty hot.
give me all the sexy men, really.
Really.
I like the dude covers.
Well, there's lots of discussion lately about covers, right? And the sexy men on the covers or not on
Yeah.
the paperbacks, especially. I don't know.
I
Those
know.
ones are like they're a sexy man, but they're not like too much
No.
skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree. It's a good balance because it's mostly like here up kind of thing,
Yeah.
closer ups. I like the hard jaws, although
Mhm.
I need a bearded cover, like close up of a dude with a really good beard. I like a beard. And hockey romances made me fall in love with beards. So,
Mhm.
because you know
They have that like scruff.
that scruff, right?
That's rough. That playoff beard.
Mhm.
So, Heather and I have favorites of your hockey heroes, and we will not ask you to pick a favorite for us, but we will ask you what is your favorite type of hero? Do you like the cinnamon roll? Do you like the alpha? Do you like the bad boy, the good boy?
Wow. That is still hard to answer because, well, like I've written a couple of bad boy heroes and they are fun because they're bad, but underneath the bad, they're kind of hurt and kind of sweet.
Mhm.
It's kind of the
So
stern
and
brunch daddy.
misunderstood. So I like those guys too because they're kind of complicated. Um, Alpha heroes, I don't write like super alpha heroes. I mean, I have written a few in the past, and I like them, and readers like them. And I don't know why I don't write very many anymore. For some reason, I feel like hockey players are very alpha on the ice. Like they are tough guys on the ice. They have to be aggressive and physical and um but off the ice, I like the contrast of a guy that's a little bit sweet and tender and you know, a lot of these guys that I've been writing lately have a lot of insecurities that they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to let on to people, and a lot of people wouldn't necessarily even know, like they're a hockey player, they're rich, they're famous, they're talented, but inside they have those kind of softer qualities.
Yeah.
Like
So
Nate, for sure.
yes,
He's
yes,
definitely like very aggressive on the ice, but
yes.
we're all
Nate,
big
earlier
sweethearts.
today we were talking about stale cinnamon rolls. So
Stale cinnamon rolls.
a little crunchy and hard on the outside, but still soft and gushy in the inside. And you can warm them up, and they're like fantastic,
That is perfect.
right? Nate's
That's
kind of
exactly it.
he's
Yeah,
kind of a stale cinnamon roll because
yeah,
he's a little grouchy. But I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
understandable. He's going through some things. He's going to have
yeah,
surgery, and you can tell just
yeah,
kind of the guy he is. He likes to know what's next. He doesn't want
yeah,
surprises or ambiguousness. And that kind of comes into play a little bit with Carly,
yeah,
his heroine, because he really just wants things like cut and
yeah.
dry, smooth sailing. And it's not always cut and dry there, Mr. Nate.
Well, I think about the women in Nate's life, and he's sort of like I think that comes with how he has to be given his things he's got going on. He needs to have his routine and schedule so he can kind of stay on. And the women in his life are sort of like, routine, schedule? We don't do that. And, they kind of throw him for a loop, but that's probably why he loves them so much. His daughter, Quinn, does that, and then Carly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. We will not talk
exactly.
about the ex wife because while I do love this book, I did not
Oh,
love her.
mm-mm.
No,
No, no, not a fan of the ex-wife. Um, yeah,
well,
like you make a good villain, Kelly. Like
Yeah.
you get in and you're like, and she didn't do anything completely outlandish. Like it wasn't over the
no,
top. It wasn't really ridiculous. It was okay. I mean, it's decisions and choices we all have to make. Career,
yeah,
family, time, focus. We all have to make those choices, and we're not professional hockey players or whatever's. Um, but Quinn was like, and this is his daughter in the book. She's 8,
7.
7. And
Yeah,
also, kudos for age appropriate child behavior because she was absolutely a 7-year-old and love
For sure.
that. But she's just like this free spirit that's still trying to figure out what her role in the family is because of being the child of divorced parents, and her parents don't have traditional 9 to 5 style jobs, and so her life's a
right,
little bit in flux. And
for sure.
the way that the stepmom kind of makes her choices, I was like, I don't love you
So
anymore.
I didn't really intend her to be a villain. Like I didn't want her to be bad, bad. But like you say, she had these opportunities, and she and Nate, this was their deal in the past. Was that she was an actress, and she knew that at some point her career might take off and might take precedence, and he agreed to that at some point if that happened that they would have to change things up. But I guess the way that the timing worked out was not ideal, and plus it was very fast, and but yeah, like you say, there's these tough decisions that you have to make in life, and
I think for me, I think at one point I was reading and I texted Becky and I was like, I really am not a fan of the ex-wife right now. I think it was the change. I mean, whatever. Like she just changed on a dime and I was like, I have whiplash. I can't even imagine how he feels. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know, he's very thoughtful. I think he's learned how to just think.
It
yeah.
it's so funny because we talk about this, and this is a story. This is
Right.
fiction, and we are
I know.
we are so invested in their lives that we're like, if that was my friend, I'd have called her out. I'd have been like, no, sister, this is not how we function. Um,
So true.
so I mean,
I
I
was
guess
telling these guys that I work with about them, and I was like, "You guys, I really love this guy." Like, he was telling them all this stuff, and they're like, "You know, he's not real, right?" And I was like, "Don't talk like that. Don't ruin my vibe here."
don't
This is
say
why I love talking to readers like you. And like, I just came back from a conference where I was with a whole bunch of authors, and we can talk like that. Like, we can talk about these characters like they're real people.
yes. Um, and we do because, like, I was trying to explain something to my mom the other day, and I was like, yeah, in this book, and this is what was happening in the relationship. And she's like, and my mom's an avid reader, but she's like, you know, that's made up, right? And I was like, you can just stop and we're done having our discussion now. Anyway, in my head, especially when I go to write reviews, like, and I'm like critiquing the relationship and how they responded in the book, and I'm like, this, if you're not a reader, then this review sounds really weird. Like,
I love that.
Okay, Kelly, I have to know. So, like, I feel like you were one of the very first hockey romance authors out there. What made you think, like, what made you be like, this is what the world needs? I mean, you were right. We did, but tell us why.
I did not know or think that this is what the world needs.
Oh,
All I knew was I like hockey. I think hockey players would make great romance heroes, and I want to write it. In fact, back when I started writing hockey romance, the kind of the consensus was don't write about pro athletes because those books don't sell. So nobody did, and I knew that was what everybody said, but I was like, I want to do it anyway. I love hockey. Then I wrote Breakaway.
well, thank you. Thank you for
mhm.
writing them
We
because
appreciate that.
I'm still in love with all of them. Like,
Yeah.
and we'll talk, we'll get to it because I need to know about future things with you. But let's talk about Nate and Carly because Nate is a little different than the heroes that we've seen in the Bears. A lot of the Bears are dealing with some mental health and emotional traumas and
Trauma.
healing and
Yeah,
PTSD and learning how to move forward. And even in Good Hands, he's kind of trying to figure out his space and who he is in the world, because he's kind of been the player that comes to a team and stays for a while and then goes to another team. And yeah,
exactly. So he doesn't want to get attached to anybody just because he's moving on all the time. Yeah.
right. And he also, like, so in Good Hands, he has to figure out how to function with some definite permanency in his life. So that was a little different. But in this one, Nate doesn't really have the trauma. It's more his is physical. His is a physical issue with his knee and his age and what the next
And he has some scars from the past too that are kind of
Mhm.
obviously not scars that you can see, right? The kind of um, the things that come back to you, and those kind of old insecurities that even though you think you've gotten over, when something happens, they come back and kind of make you doubt yourself and doubt who you are.
Yeah. He was so respectful of Carly and her boundaries and kind of where she needed to put their relationship. And Carly herself, she is coming off of a long-term nanny position and she has some past trauma herself, and she now has to figure out, what does her future look like? And I liked that Nate wasn't just like, well, this is what it should look like, and I will do this for you and care, like fix it. He was like, no, you need to figure out you. And I liked that about him. I liked that about their dynamic.
Yeah.
She's also, so what was your inspiration for Carly? Because she was phenomenal as far as her thoughtful approach to to feminist issues. Like, it wasn't crazy in your face, like, men should be talking about this and men should be, it didn't. Sometimes a feminist character can come off as a man hater.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't about gender so much. It was just about being a really good, solid human, no matter what your gender was. So what was your inspiration for Carly?
You know who inspired me? I don't know if you even have heard of her. Her name is Liz Plank.
No.
She wrote a book that kind of inspired this, and I think it's called For the Love of Men, which I haven't actually read it. I bought it for my son, but I follow her on social media and read some of the stuff that she writes and things that she tweets and her Instagram and stuff. And so I don't know that Carly's exactly like her, but that was kind of the inspiration for Carly.
I really loved her. I really loved her. I liked the thoughtfulness of her and her insight, and their meet cute was
adorable.
And the fact that, here's this little girl in a cape and a mask, and she, latched right onto it and didn't, be like, or just flirt with dad. Like, she engaged with the child first, and I really, really liked that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and you nailed, I think sometimes when there's single parents or a nanny, like sometimes the kid can get pushed off to the side. And I didn't feel that way. Quinn was like a big part of it.
She was a big part of it, and that's a tough thing to do when you write a book with a child in it. And I definitely, it wasn't easy with this one. I haven't written that many books with children in them, but it's true that either the child gets pushed aside and like they're off with the babysitter or something all the time, or they take over the story. And then, I mean, how do I say this? But having a kid around all the time isn't conducive to, like sexy times and that kind of thing.
No.
So if the child is around all the time, then it's tougher for the relationship to progress. So it's tough to find that balance with like being real about the child is there.
Yeah, right.
I loved how you were like, well, she got invited to a sleepover and it was like the best thing ever. I mean, like, I think all parents can relate to that. You're like,
right? Okay, but there's a great scene in this book with Carly, and it's when she's living in her best friend's house on the couch, and they have a party, and everybody is drunk. There's a guy passed out on the couch, and she's like, so she goes into one of the roommates' bedrooms to lay down and figures they'll wake her up when they come to bed. Boy, do they wake her up. Because, I'm sorry, I do not know any person as a young adult who didn't have that happen to them. I had it happen to me. I was passed out in a sleeping bag on a floor, and my best friend was in the bed, and I got woken up alone. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then you don't know, like, do you like crawl out of the room? Do you just get up and go? Because
just try to stick against the wall or something.
Right. Awkward.
That was a really great scene.
I'm like, what 20-something girl has not experienced? Like,
And I also love how she's like, that was it. That was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't even care. I gotta get out of this.
yep. This is not working anymore.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
and I do
Yeah.
like that she's like, if I'm coming, I work for you. We are no longer dating. And boy, Nate was just like, what?
Yeah.
Wait.
I know. He's
Like, rewind. I gotta rethink this.
He's like, not okay with this. This does not work
Yeah.
for me.
like, why didn't I name this?
But I think what there's like a very unglamorous side of taking care of somebody, like how she had to take care of Nate. And you
Yeah.
didn't like gloss over that, but I think that you need that if you've ever had to take care of somebody after they've had surgery or something. It's not pretty.
It's not sexy. No.
And but it's
also,
like,
sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
That was also a whole part of that gender thing, and masculinity was him having to be so weak and helpless in front of her, and how did he handle that? And he didn't like it.
No,
No.
not at all.
But he handled it.
Well, and like, what else are you gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? There's only so much you can do.
Yeah. It was just, yeah, I
Mhm.
loved it. I thought it was
Loved
great.
it.
And, and it felt like the way that you wrote it, we got the pictures of his healing process and
Mhm.
moving through his physical therapy to the point that he can get back on skates, and how that affected his interactions with Carly and even with Quinn and what they could do. And such. And, I think there was a moment where she's like, do you want me to get your crutches? And he's like, no. She's like,
And then she's feeling like, you don't even need me anymore.
right.
Like, yes, I do.
And
Right.
I love like how they would have conversations and then it was clear that he like thought about it because it came up in a different way. Like it wasn't like lip service, like he was truly internalizing things and making changes in his conversations with people,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially the principal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
in the
That was
chat,
this.
I did share Kelly's newsletter sign up. Make sure you sign up
Okay.
for her newsletter. She sends out great updates, and we get pictures of Penny the puppy, and always good stuff. We can't spoil the principal,
I
but
know. Okay. Out of all the sexy things you have written, Kelly, that is one of the hottest things I have read. And it was not spicy, but it was like,
I know.
oh, he's so attractive in that moment.
And Carly says that too, right? Because that's what
Mm-hmm.
happened.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Also, I love that Quinn swears. I know I
That's the hottest
shouldn't
thing
love
you've ever
that,
said.
but as a mom and a teacher, I think it's hilarious.
You know who I was thinking about? Oh, now I've gone totally blank on the name. The guy from Ted Lasso, the soccer player. I can't remember his name, but he has a niece and he swears around her all the time, and then she gets in trouble at school for swearing. And I thought that was so funny. I'm like, well, a hockey player would like totally have,
yes.
trouble just kind of keeping his mouth clean.
Roy, they're answering in the chat for you. Roy.
Roy can't. Roy
Yes.
can't.
I do love a kid that swears. And Quinn, like, she's very clear to be like, but you say it. Like, she doesn't even hide that, like, she just heard it somewhere. She's like, but Dad.
Hello, Dad. Yeah, she's a great character too. Like, I love that she's sort of the sassy version of Nate. Like, it's great. She's great. Love it.
She's such a great kid. Okay, so people are asking in the chat if they can start, where can they start in this series? Honestly, Kelly, I think one of the things that you do exceptionally well is your books stand alone. Like you can pick up in the middle of a series. And because I was thinking about that today, if I had just read The Ozone, which kind of starts this group of 3,
Yeah.
you would not be lost. Like you wouldn't miss the first 3. And honestly, you could read Scoring Big right now.
Yes.
And it
Totally.
stands completely on it. And as a reader that likes to put authors to the test and read things all out of order and wacky, I appreciate that you do this, that you make these books. They're not dependent on each other, but you does make you want to go back. Like there's a thing in this book that we cannot spoil for those of us that are longtime Kelly Jamieson fans. But as it happened, I was like, I need to go back and I need to read that because it made me love them. And anyway, but we can't spoil it. Is this one in audio? Not yet.
It's in the works.
It's in the works.
Just signing a contract to get the audio for Good Hands and Scoring Big started, but I mean, it takes time to do these things, so probably won't be until spring that they're available.
But Gretchen, your Chicago Aces are all in audio, and so is the Win series.
Yes. Oh, and I just listened to Theo's book, Play to Win. Right? That's his book, is Play to Win.
Yeah.
And that was a really great audiobook. And it's only done with a male narrator. I don't think there's a female one in that one.
See, I did not know that.
Oh.
Those ones were sold to an audio publisher. Guess that's
Right.
so I haven't actually even listened to them.
It was really good. It was really good because I listened to it because Theo was one of my book boyfriends for our top 7 this year. And I love him the most. And it drives
He is pretty great.
it drives Leah crazy because in that whole episode, I was like, one of his winning qualities is he doesn't wear socks ever, not even with his suits.
Yeah.
It's like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, nothing is wrong with me. Oh, also, if you do any play, the wins are on any play, and so is Firecracker and Game On.
Yep.
Oh,
A lot of your books are in the AnyPlay app, Kelly.
Yeah. Big Stick. That's another one with a single mom.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
yes.
They are snowed in. That is
Yeah.
the swoon.
Yeah.
He is one of your swooniest heroes, but
He is grumpy.
He's a grump.
Woo.
He's a grump.
Yeah, but he
Oh,
has
we
a
like
reason to be a grump in that book. Big Stick.
Yeah.
Plus, she owns a sex toy company.
Correct.
Hello, people. Like,
Yes.
I'm
Oh, that whole series, Kelly. There's so many good ones in that series.
The Aces. You like the Aces. I love that.
Actually, I have not met a single one of your hacky romances that I don't love.
Thank you.
So, and the Hellers, I think I do have to go back. They were one of, yes, I have to go back and read them.
And speaking of audio, Heller Brothers are going to be coming out in audio only on script, but it will be in audio.
Only on script? Okay.
I was wrong. There are 2 narrators to Playing to Win. Theo's book does have 2, but the guy's just really good. He was just that dynamic that you are in tuned to him. Snowden sounds perfect for this time of year. Gretchen, yes, Big Stick. Like, and truly a grumpy hero. And not just an asshole hero, like a true, he's grumpy because he has a big heart, and I could go on for days. Plus that cover, before we came on, we were talking about those, and that's a cover that, you know, I would like to see printed, but we know.
No.
It's probably a good thing that those aren't available right now here, because I would have them and then I would just like sit here and pet them like nonstop.
Do you know that I had no idea? Like, I mean, when I first started reading, I had no idea about any of the back ends of publishing, nothing. And I was Google searching for these paperbacks till I was blue in the face. And finally I was like, Kelly or Becky, where the heck do I get these? And she's like, yeah, you're never gonna get them. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Maybe we could just get prints of them.
sadly, that is so.
So I like Slapshot. Was one of the most emotional ones. So Max.
Yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was another emotional one too.
You like emotion. You like to kind of make us work for that HEA, don't you?
I do. I'm not.
You don't have to apologize for it. It's okay.
You play hard to get, don't you,
But
Kelly?
I don't think I write like the super, super angsty stuff.
Mm.
So, like some authors that I've been reading. Like, but they do have, a lot of them do have really challenging things in their past that they have to overcome. So we don't live through the past, but it still is with them. And
Playing Hurt is another good one. It's another, because like they have the Twitter back and forth because she's a pop star and he's the hockey star, and
yeah,
some of the most creative dates in romance happen in that book because they just do such unexpected things.
Nate is also very good at date planning. That was something I noticed. I was like, he can plan my dates any day of the week.
Nate was really good at planning dates. Wow. You're just making me love this book. I already gave it 5 stars. I don't know how many more stars I can give it. You just want us to battle for it, don't you, Heather? You're like, come on, Becky.
I know. No, I already told him. I think I even commented on something on Kelly's like social. I'm like, he's mine. Like I like dimmed him like before any of us got to him. I'm like, he's mine.
He's such a great hero. Okay, so New York Bears hockey series. We have 6 books now.
Yes.
Are we getting a few more? Because there's at least one more dude that needs a book.
I don't know what's coming next.
Okay.
To be like completely frank, I had originally planned 3 more Bears books, and I sort of had an idea of who they were, and then I just got kind of, I don't know what, I think I maybe was having a little bit of burnout, and I had all these other ideas of things that I wanted to write. Not that I don't want to write hockey anymore, because I love it. And I started that hockey wedding story. And I also started a hockey Christmas story.
Okay. Well, your hockey Christmas story last year was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Hockey, but still, yeah.
Yeah. And then what book was it that we go back and we visit the Aces and her dad is the whose book was that?
That's in the Bears series.
Yeah.
Her dad is the general manager for the Aces.
Which one was is that Talk Hockey to Me?
Talk Hockey to Me, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's Talk Hockey to Me. Okay, because you kind of hinted that Dad could get a story.
Oh, did I?
You did.
Yeah, you did.
He was dating a younger woman, and she had little kids.
Yes.
And
honestly, like, when I read that part, I texted Heather, I'm like, I think Kelly's taking us back to Chicago.
Yeah.
Dirty D's, Kelly.
I know, and I struggled, even when I started the next 3 Bears books, I struggled about what I should do next, because I wanted to write more hockey, but I was like, should it be more Aces hockey? Should it be more Wynn family hockey? Should it be more Bears hockey? I was like, I didn't know what to do, so I ended up writing more Bears hockey.
That's okay. It thinks
Aces hockey is not out of the question.
Okay.
Totally not out of the question.
Well, if you just need a wedding one-off, maybe even Christmas, the dad that's the general manager of the Aces.
Yeah.
We're in.
So wasn't the Hate Me Under the Mistletoe, wasn't she a Heller?
She
Yes.
was.
Yes, she's a Heller daughter.
Yeah.
Yes. Next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Because
some of the other generations are playing hockey, so
because she is the sister of the brother that's book one of the Bears, which is must love dogs and hockey. And it wasn't until we did our last happy hour that I figured out why the dog's name was Otis, because of the elevator.
Yeah, that's right. We were talking about that.
I am brilliant sometimes, guys. Like, brilliant.
Okay.
That was so cute.
So we're not sure if we're going to get more Bears, but there's more hockey coming,
There's
right?
more hockey coming, and I'm just not sure right now. I'm just waiting for something to call me.
Some inspiration. That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, and you wrote a menage this summer that was in Chicago that, was very sexy.
And they went to an Aces hockey game.
They did. They did.
Again, hockey in there somehow.
Yep.
Dirty tease, Kelly. A little bit of a dirty tease. But I'll just let you know that we would not be sad to see next gen Chicago Aces, even a even a little novella short to go back and visit.
I also would not be
guys.
sad for more Hellers. Like, I really like them. I mean, the wins too.
Well, because we got to win in scoring big. Ashton.
Yeah. Writes for the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a little brief of him. And if we think about Game Changer, which is the Last of the Winds book, right? That's the Last of the Winds.
Right.
You hinted that he's this complex character and it wouldn't quite be hockey. Because he's not a hockey player, he's a journalist.
Right.
But he would need like super feisty, like stick it to him heroine, because he's a little arrogant. Because if you think about it, in the Win books, he's kind of a know-it-all. Like, he's always like analyzing everybody, like, well, yeah.
Well, sure. He does know it all.
Yeah. If he was my brother / uncle, I might have, like, punched him at one point. Right? Because he's the grandfather's son, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is. Yeah.
I love that family because they are so messy.
Messy.
It's like a train wreck of romance families, but I love it because they function in that dysfunction. And it's like every moment is like the next sticky wicket. And you're just like, what you gonna do? And I forgot how much it was like that until I did the re-listen of Playing to Win. And he takes her to meet the family to the dinner.
Yeah.
And
oh my God, I love that.
And Chelsea's there. Yes. And Grandpa's just saying whatever he wants. And everyone's kind of like.
Yeah.
And the
Grandpa
dad
gives 0 F's about anything.
Right. And the dad and the uncle are like, biting right back. Yeah. And the mom's like, just pass the potatoes. Who needs more wine? And I'm like, yeah, she's been doing that a minute.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That scene in that book is so good because, come on, how many of us have had that family dinner or that family Thanksgiving that is a little extra awkward, somebody spouts off with something they're not supposed to be saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then everyone's just quietly chugging wine in the background.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's so good. I love that series, you guys. If you haven't read that series, that's one to read too. Okay, Kelly, I'm getting my random buzzing about romance conversation questions for you to answer. Okay. Well, this is a good one. What's your favorite sports team of romance?
Ooh.
sports team of romance.
Yeah. Aces, bears, condors. Could be
Yes.
another author's team.
Oh, it's like you're asking who my favorite child is.
Well, we'll take that answer too if you
Yeah,
want to.
I mean,
we won't tell them.
We won't tell your children that you're on YouTube saying that you love one of them best.
My favorite. Well, okay, so I think it's the Aces.
It's the Aces. That's a good
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
We like that answer.
Yeah.
Have you ever renamed a character? Like after you've
Yes.
written an entire book, renamed the character because you didn't like the name in the end?
Yes.
Oh.
And you know, it's really weird. It's really weird because why did I had to rename a character? It wasn't that I didn't like it, but the publisher that I was with at that time said, after I wrote the whole book, that this name has been used it was a guy's name, has been used too many times. And you have to rename him. And so I had to do it. And it was just weird because, I mean, like we were saying, he's a real person in my head. And changing his name was just, it was just very, very strange.
Yeah, but because in your head he was this guy, and then they're like, "No, you got to name him Todd," and you're like, "He was never a Todd."
Yeah,
that would be hard. If you could turn one of your book series into a TV show, what series would you turn into a TV show? Because I have 2 of yours that I actually think would be great TV.
Well, that one's actually easy because I actually tried to do this. I wrote a screenplay for Play to Win.
Really? That?
Yeah. It went nowhere. But it was super fun doing it. It wasn't actually the whole book. Like, if it was going to be like a TV series, like, it was basically the first couple of chapters were the first.
Yeah. Well, and I think it would be a great family series because think about it if it was filmed like a reality TV series.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Kardashians, but the Wins.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Exactly. I'd
watch it.
Kind of like Dallas, kind of like Ted Lasso because it's sports, but it's hockey, but it's a crazy family. And
yeah. I mean, could you imagine like the single solo camera interviews with like Grandpa? They'd be so great. Priceless. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I would be.
I'd pay money to see it.
I think your tequila bar series would be an amazing TV series.
Oh, that could be a good one too, yeah.
Because there's just a lot of intricate characters in that book, and you've got the dynamic of owning a bar and a restaurant and the beach location. Although in the Winds, they it's the paddleboard yoga.
Yes.
Now, I am no yogi, people. I play one on YouTube a couple times a year when I'm feeling, spry. But every once in a while, I'll think about the paddleboard yoga and I'll think, next time we take a beach vacation, maybe I'll see if the local place has a class, to watch. Not because I'm doing it. I'd spend all my time in the ocean. It's so funny. Heather, which one of her series do you want to turn into a TV show?
I think the Winds would be great. Like in that, I kind of feel like the Bears. I think New York is such a cool place. There's lots of fun things you could do with hockey, and I do love like kind of how they're overcoming their trauma and how that event really kind of changed hockey. I think that's interesting to me.
Do you have a favorite grand gesture moment in your books?
Ooh. You put me on the spot and I can't think of a favorite one, but I I know there have been a couple of really good ones that I liked.
So I think it is in book 2 of the bears with the dogs, right? Is that book 2 with the dogs that he ends up
Oh,
um
where he's the mascot. No, that's book 3 where he's the
the
mascot. Book
mascot and he chases after her? Oh, that's a great one.
That one's
No,
awesome.
book 2, isn't there the one with the dogs? The because in book 1, don't they do like a, maybe that's something else. I could be thinking of something else. Well, Nate in Scoring Big has a good grand gesture.
Mm-hmm.
He sets her up for dinner, right?
Mm-hmm.
yes.
With the best
Yeah.
friend. And
Yes.
so,
That one was good. That was I don't think that's one of my best ones, but that was good.
I think the one where I can't know, I'm totally what is this? He leaves and he goes back to Canada and he's trying to work through his stuff, and it's the grand gesture of his teammates.
oh, that's
Like,
Must Love Dogs and Hockey, right? Isn't
right,
that
but
Josh Heller's book?
I think
Or
that's You Had Me at Hockey.
You Had Me at
might
Hockey.
be
So
it. You
book
had me at
2
hockey.
Yeah. Yeah.
in the series. That one's
I
available
love
only in
that one.
ebook. You keep looking at
Oh,
your
I'm so
paperbacks. I'm
sorry.
like, only available in
Yeah.
ebook.
Only available in ebook.
I love that. I know it's not the grand gesture of like the romantic, but I love like that sort of bromance that they have where they're there for each other.
Yeah.
That was great. I love that.
Well, in the Game Changer, where he lets her go back to Chicago, and after their 2 weeks in Canada are up, and he lets her go back to Chicago, he then has to work a little harder to get her to, um, be
Mhm.
like, yeah, we should be in a relationship. It wasn't just that we spent our summer together. Because that was a nice little. He's a win, but we got to visit Chicago through him.
Yes. That one was all over.
I love that one just because you get that runaway bride, which we know Kelly loves a wedding. If you listen to the wedding episode,
Mhm.
Yes.
the wedding, you get the runaway bride, but then you also get the kind of close proximity vacation fling feel because they're at
Yeah.
the lake together, and
Yeah.
the sticky wicket of
I
the
do think the grand
winds.
gesture in um was it? Yeah. Talk Hockey to Me, where he's the mascot, where he has that fear and he
Right.
puts on the mascot costume at the end and has his teammates bring her to Central Park, and then he does the signs like the Love
Oh,
Actually.
yeah.
I think that was a good one.
That is a good one.
Mhm.
I was trying to think of Top Shelf's grand gesture, but now I have to just go back and read it because I can't think of it. So,
I can't remember that one either. Oh my god.
because that's the one with the restaurant and she's the bartender.
Yeah.
Kelly does like a bartender in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's another thing.
That's another thing. Um, so when your crazy fans, Heather and Becky, like message you and are saying like, "Hey, this is my book boyfriend." What's that experience like for you as an author? Are you kind of like, "Yeah, he's a great character. Thanks." How far away do you live from me?
No. I love that. Like, that is the best compliment that you can get, is when readers love your characters like they're real people and talk about them like they're real people. Like, that means that they've gotten into your head, and I mean, that is the best compliment ever.
Um, is there one of your characters that you've written that would be your best friend? That is like the most maybe like your real life, because I know you and your sister are super close, that would be like your in real life best friend. Is there one of your characters that's like that?
You know who would be my best friend is somebody like um this is going to sound really weird, but Lovey from Major Misconduct.
Oh, yes.
Like, because I'm like super introverted, but if you get me an extrovert that will take me with them and be my friend, that's what I need. So like Lovey, who was like friends with everybody loves her. She's just like a people person all the time. She takes people under her wings. She becomes like the team mom, the captain's girlfriend.
She throws a party at the
Yeah,
drop of a hat. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to think which it was it in her brother's book? I think he comes home from an away game and like or from being out of town and all the guys are like at his house and
yeah,
she's ordering food and
yeah, yeah,
he's like,
yeah,
"Why are
yeah,
you people in my apartment?"
yeah, yeah.
And
Exactly.
doesn't, whose cabin is it? Because there's a big party at their cabin too.
Oh
Is it the
yeah,
brother or is it,
Duncan's
our,
Duncan's cabin, I
was
think.
it? Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I loved that. I think
Yeah.
that your book was one of those books where some of the first where like we got some of the off-season dynamics where like they would
Yes.
go
Yeah.
to the cabin, for their week together. Um and it was so fun. It was so fun to see them outside of the hockey, but you still got the team dynamic and I really liked those books that we got.
And you nailed like cabin living, which I mean, you're from like,
Yes.
Canada. So, I mean,
I've lived that life.
for me, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's just like how I spend my summer.
Yeah, totally.
Um Is there one of the dates that you've written in your books that you would want to reenact in real life?
Oh,
Because
so many.
Nate was
Okay.
a great
Okay.
date planner.
Here's the ultimate one. It was in Playing Hurt, where he books a private plane and flies them off to, was it Aruba?
Yeah,
Uh,
I think.
I think, at some resort. And then they have like dinner on the beach with like a little tent and candles. And oh my God, that's so romantic.
So
Yep.
romantic. I mean, because especially who wants to not be in Chicago when you could be on a beach?
Right.
You do like romantic dates because now you mentioned that one, and I said, Nate was a good date planner in this book. So you do like to plan dates.
And it's funny in romance novels that often couples don't go on dates. Like there's often some other reason that they're together. Like it it's not like a usual relationship where they like go out on a date and they go out on another date and they go out on another date and it's like, okay, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. I mean, there's always something unusual about it. And so when I get a chance to write a date, I like to make it a nice romantic date.
You do it
Yeah.
well and you're inspired.
Mhm.
Okay, so do you have another book planned for early 2023 or we should just sign up for your newsletter, follow you on social media and you'll announce
Yeah.
when the next stuff is coming?
Yes, exactly. I do not have anything that I can say this is coming. So yeah,
Okay.
sign up for the newsletter. Follow me on social media.
In the chat, I put Kelly's reader group. It is a great space to spend time in. And then also, you have a Netflix series. Look at me giving you a Netflix series. A YouTube series with our own Danica Flynn called Chippy Chicks, where you guys talk hockey, like real NHL hockey, and sometimes we get some other romance, but we definitely get eye candy. I think my favorite episode is when you guys did the suits
Yeah,
of hockey. Like,
that's a regular. That's a regular. We do our style report every time we do an episode. Yeah.
yeah. And there's 5 or 6 of romance authors that all sit down together and talk real hockey. So, and I've
Real
actually,
hockey, but lots of times we're picking up on the little like human interest kind of stories, the things that might make it into a romance novel.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, this summer, I have to tell you, Heather, like the TikToks and the social media posts that Heather sent me all summer with who was the guy in his engagement and drama, Heather, this summer.
Oh, Tyler Sagan. When Tyler Sagan got engaged, how the world, like so many hockey fans' hearts broke.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Including Kelly's.
I wasn't ever the biggest Tyler Sagan fan, but I definitely admit he's cute.
Yeah, and there are a couple. I think Kirill Kaprizov that came out like he has a girlfriend, and all the Minnesota girls are like, "Oh," I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
"Hello." They just moved on. So then you've got the you got the Hughes brothers, and now
Yeah.
like the younger kids are just, and they're like literally kids.
Literally.
Heather, you're like aging yourself because you're like, they're children.
You know what? Here's the deal. When your child has the same name as the firstborn draft pick, you know that you've reached the age where you can be their mom.
Yeah, I get that.
That is right.
I get that. That's why new adult is starting to get like a little sticky different for me. Like, because mine are 19 and 17. Like, they're not far off.
Yeah.
And you have to be like, okay, I must detach from reality while I read this book.
Yeah.
Kelly, thank you so much for joining us for Happy Hour. Thank you
so much for having me.
anytime. Thanks for scoring big. It's available wherever you guys get books. And like I said, Good Hands is also free right now, probably till the end of the week, I think.
Yeah.
Till the end of the week. So make sure you grab that because those are must reads. So anyway, until next time, everyone, happy reading.
Bye, Kelly.
Bye.